Hey guys, welcome to my very first video that I'm uploading to YouTube. We are actually going to be in XPlane11. This is a new airplane that I've recently purchased. It is an ERJ-145XR made by Embroider. I know I pronounced that incorrectly, so all you guys out there that are pilot gurus or know what kind of plane I'm flying, don't judge me. So, anyways, so we are going to do a little flight here from Joplin, Missouri. We're going to go up to Kansas City International Airport, and this is the plane here, guys. So it's my understanding they didn't make very many of these planes. Some of them are still in service. These are predominantly regional jets. I think I could be wrong on the number, but I think they made somewhere like a couple thousand of these. They didn't make very many. But these are the types of planes that will fly in and out of Joplin. Our airport is actually big enough to support larger aircraft. The terminal is the new updated terminal here, as you can see. The terminal is big enough to hold bigger planes, but we don't see too many big planes coming in and out of here. So anyways, let's jump right on in here, guys. We're gonna do this from a cold start. As you can see, everything in the cabin is dark. And first things first, we are going to remove all of our covers on the engines and the static lines and everything there. Just a disclaimer, I am not a real pilot. I am a flight enthusiast, though, looking to get my pilot's license later on down the road. So everything that I do in X-Plane is, self-taught, but it is a simulator. This is not real life, so this would be a lot more complicated in real life, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and get some things going here. I turned on the batteries, getting the avionics turned on, so that brings up all of our computer stuff here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. If you can, I'm trying to circle these three computers down here. We're going to go ahead and turn on our exterior lights. That'll be our nav, beacon, strobe. Alright. Go ahead and turn our fuel pumps on. We're going to go ahead and turn electrical and our buses on and the bleeds on so that we can get this APU going. That way we're not running completely off the battery. We're going to click and hold this for just a second. You'll hear the aircraft kind of die off a little bit there, and then you hear it kind of winding up. So now our APU is running, so we're using APU power. And we want to turn the logo slide off, turn dome light off, seatbelt and smoking on. Emergency light to on. Alright. So we've got that going, so now we're going to come down here to a FMS. This is pretty basic. The flight simulators are not as detailed. You can get some planes that are actually very detailed as to what you got to put in. The thing I love about this plane is it pretty much does it all for you. You put in your cruise altitude. It already has what kind of plane you're flying. It's got your departure, airport. You can input, what runway you're going to take off from and everything like that. I keep it very simple. So, guys, this is not how pilots would actually do this. We're going to go to Kansas City International. That's KMCI. We're going to input that right there. There we go, Kansas City International. And you can select what runway and approach and everything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a simulated ATC, and that's air traffic control. That's going to basically tell me just about everything I need to do. So we've got our V speeds. I don't know if you saw that on the last screen. We got our V speeds, excuse me, right there. It already inputs that for us, which is great, and that's based off of how much fuel we've got in this. I've got about 3 hours of flight time fuel in this aircraft. We are not going to need anywhere near that much, but it's a good basic there. Average speed, we're going to be doing about 290 knots cruising speed. I don't like to dilly-dally when I get from location to location. And we're only going to be flying about 20,000 feet. Honestly, once we get up to 20,000 feet, we're not going to be up at 20,000 for very long before we're getting orders from the towers to descend. And we're going to go ahead and initialize that. So that's input and ready to go. We're going to flip that over to radio, because we're going to need to put our squawk in here, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be 4700, but we may have to change that. And we're going to come over to this one here. Now, typically, pilots would input routes, so you have different waypoints that you would use. Since this is a simulator, like I said, I'm not doing everything 100%. So we're just going to do a direct flight. So we're going to go from Joplin to Kansas City International. We are in American Airlines. Oops. That would be AAL, not ALL. Let's get that right. The number I like to use for the flight number is 12. Again, since it's a simulator, there's really no real designation that you have to do. But we're going to try and make this as realistic as we possibly can. Alright, so we've got that inputted. We're good to go there. Now we're going to come up here, and we're going to bring our air traffic control screen up. And we're going to follow our flight plan. So we are in an Embraer. There we go. That is actually how it's pronounced. So I did screw it up earlier. Embraer ERJ-145XR. There we go. American Airlines, flight number 12, going from Joplin to Kansas City, and our cruise altitude is going to be 20,000 feet. Alright, we're going to go ahead and request our altimeter.
12, Joplin RGNL, altimeter 2994.
Alright, so we're going to rotate that down to 2994.
Joplin RGNL, altimeter 2994, American 12.
And we're going to request clearance.
American 12, cleared IFR2, Kansas City International, as filed. Maintain flight level 200, squawk 4700.
So, cleared IFR2, Kansas City International, as filed. Maintain flight level 200, squawk 4700, American 12.
Alright, so I was correct. We're inputting 4700 squawk. That's so the tower can identify us while we're in the air. And we have gotten clearance to cruise at 20,000 feet. So we're good there. So now we can go ahead and set our autopilot for when we're ready. We're going to set that 20,000 feet. Our vertical speed, we are going to do 3,000 feet per minute. And we don't know our heading yet. We'll know that as soon as we request taxi. And we'll go ahead and input our runway that we are going to leave out of.
American 12, runway 18, taxi via Lima, Delta 4, hold short of runway 18.
Alright, so we're taking off at 18.
Runway 18, taxi via Lima, Delta 4, hold short of runway 18, American 12.
So that'll be 180. So So we've got our heading set. We're going to go ahead and turn that on. Now, this is just on Flight Director right now, so it's telling us that it would make that turn, but it won't do that till we actually hit the autopilot button. So until I hit that autopilot button, we are flying by hand and using manual controls. Alright, so we are good for taxi. Typically pilots before they would even call for pushback would probably test here, or they would test after, immediately following the pushback. They would test their flight controls, make sure their flaps are working, make sure the all-arounds are working, make sure all that fun stuff's functional. Since this is a flight simulator, I know for a fact this is all good. I don't have it set up for any kind of faults other than basic mechanical faults. So like if we land too hard, we could blow a tire or, you know, something like that. But as far as simulation faults at random, it is not set up for that. So we don't really have to worry about anything right now. And we are going to go ahead, I believe everything's good here. We're going to go ahead and call for a pushback. So we're going to go up here to ground handling menu. We're going to release our brakes. Engines are not on, so we're not going to roll anywhere. And we're going to call for a straight back pushback.
Okay, I'll send a push card.
Now again, guys, this is a simulator. No simulator is perfect. I guarantee you the push cart's going to come right through that wall there, which would not happen in real life. Yep, there he is. See, watch, he's going to go whee through the wall. And there he is. So I'm going to come through all that stuff, and that would not happen in real life. Or at least we hope not. Alright, we're going to go ahead and turn our taxi light on. And we're going to go ahead and kill the bus, and the bleeds, electricals, and engine startup. The other thing I love about this aircraft, I don't know, with me talking, you guys probably can't hear it. Let me open up this cabin door. You can hear the ATC, or not the ATC, but you can hear the flight attendants doing their safety with the passengers. It just kind of adds to the realism of the aircraft. It's kind of cool. And that door would actually be shut for the safety and, you know, privacy of the pilots so they can do their thing. But when it's open, you can hear it a little bit better. And hopefully you guys can hear that. This being my first video, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it or not. Alright, we're going to go ahead and turn back on our electricals. We're going to turn the packs back on, our bleeds. Oop, there we go. Alright. And we are going to set flaps for this aircraft. We set them to 5 degrees or flaps 1. It doesn't take much for this aircraft to take off, so... And we're going to release the brakes, and we're going to go ahead and throttle up, and... we're going to taxi on out to the runway.
To release, lift up on the faceplate of the buckle. Please ensure your seatbelt is fastened whenever the seatbelt sign is illuminated. Also, for your safety, we require that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times while seated.
Now, in the video, you can probably see we've got a taxi director on here. I can actually turn that off, and I can see the signs pretty well on the ground, to where we don't need that, but it's kind of nice to have it on, especially for the video purposes, because I'll be talking to you guys, explaining things, and that way I don't get distracted. I don't want to make a wrong turn.
In preparation for takeoff, please check to make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened low and tight, that your tray table is up and locked, and seat backs are in their upright position. All carry-on items need to be placed.
A little cloudy today in Joplin.
And large portable electronic devices
Not too bad though, but got a little bit of clouds. Now I do have real world weather and real world time on here, as well as real world traffic. I have real world traffic turned off, but everything else is turned on. So the weather you see in the simulator currently is the weather that we are experiencing right now here in Joplin, Missouri. It's about 104 degrees outside, and there is a little bit of cloud cover. We are expected to get rain sometime tonight, possibly into the early morning hours of tomorrow. But it is currently 104 degrees. It is god-awful hot outside right now. It is downright ridiculous. And technically right now we are traveling a little fast. Yeah, we're doing about 32 across the ground right now. Most airports don't want planes to exceed 10 knots across the ground. I mean, there's really no reason for them to go that fast, but for simulation purposes it looks a little slow. Plus, this is already going to be a decent length video.
American 1-2, contact tower on 119.80.
Alright, so we're being told to hold short here and contact the tower for clearance, so we're going to go ahead.
Contact tower on 119.80.
And contact the tower.
American 1-2. Tower, American 1-2.
American 1-2, fly heading 180, runway 18. You're cleared for takeoff.
Fly heading 180, runway 18, American 1-2.
Alright, so we're cleared for takeoff. Those switches I just flipped, those are the takeoff lights. The one thing that it's my understanding from talking to pilots, it is mandatory to turn those on, even if it's daylight hours, just for enhanced visibility. But again, I am quoting that from pilots that I have talked to, that I don't know if it's actually how it's supposed to be or not. I do it anyways. It's kind of in the truck driving world, I am a truck driver. A lot of us will leave our headlights on just for enhanced visibility so people see us. Alright, lined up, and we're going to throttle up to full power. Our V1 is going to be right around 113 knots, I believe. Keep that nose down. And rotate. Bring that nose up. Ooh, come on. And we got positive climb, so gear up. Now right now I'm still on manual flight. I am still in control of the plane.
1-2, contact center on 132.325.
And
now we've switched over to autopilot.
Contact center on 132.325, American 1-2. Center, American 1-2.
American 1-2, Joplin RGNL, altimeter 2994. American 1-2, fly heading 270.
Fly heading 270, American 1-2.
Alright, so we're going to fly a heading 270, so we're going to turn right. Anytime you fly in an aircraft, the tower is supposed to give you the closest heading to the direction you need to turn. So they're going to tell us 270, and here in just a minute they're going to tell us, you know, continue right turn to 350, or at least they should. We'll see what happens here. I got a little distracted there, so I kind of overspeed a little bit on the plane when
1-2,
oh, there it is.
350.
Alright, 350.
Fly heading 350, American 1-2.
Alright, so there's our
1, 2.
Oh,
Resume on navigation.
Okay, resume.
Resume on navigation. American 1, 2.
There we go. Alright, so I had dropped the throttle down a little bit and to get us under that red line. Below a certain altitude, most airports have a 250 knots maximum. So we kind of exceeded that a little bit. We probably would have gotten a little bit of trouble for that if we were real pilots, but I was kind of fiddling with some stuff. Looks like we're going to go through this little bit of a cloud layer here on our way up to 20,000 feet. Alright. And now we can exceed 250 knots because we're above that altitude restriction. So we're going to go ahead and kill the lights there because now we should be above any landing aircraft. And let's see if we can't trim this out a bit.
Reminder the fasten seatbelt sign is still on. When the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign, it will be safe to move about the cabin. This aircraft is equipped with a lavatory located in the rear of the cabin. Please do not congregate in the idle area around the galley or lavatory. Please keep your seatbelt fastened at all times while seated, and take caution when opening overhead compartments, as contents may have leaked during takeoff. We would like to take a moment to tell you about an exciting offer on board.
So here's the ATC telling the flight attendants telling everybody, you know, what's going on again. But we're going to go ahead and shut that. That way I can talk to you guys. I don't know how well you can hear me over her, but... And the reason why the plane's kind of cocked to the left here is the autopilot's fighting this crosswind here. So we're going to be flying a little cockeyed, it looks like, on the way to Kansas City. Alright, so now that we're at a certain altitude, we're kind of maxed out on speed here. We're going to go ahead and raise flaps to 0. We're going to kind of dip here a little bit, and then we'll catch that air. And there we go. See the nose come back up. Right now we are flying on autopilot, so... Oh, good golly, what is going on here? This plane's either really plane's really fighting the wind, or we're just having some complications with this aircraft. Again, guys, simulator, nothing's 100% accurate. We really... Yeah. We should not be dipping quite that much. And for some odd reason, my trim is not working here. Either that or I'm making it worse. Oh no, now I'm making it worse. Alright, we're gonna throttle down a bit here. We're gonna be exceeding speed. Want to stay in that 290 to 300 knots range. Anything more than that at 20,000 feet is kind of overkill. back off the throttle there because we are speeding just a smidge. I do not know why my plane is leaning quite that bad. We do have a 16-mile-an-hour crosswind. That's a pretty hefty crosswind at 20,000 feet. I'm going to assume that's why the autopilot has us leaning a bit there. Oh, and kill the APU. Don't need it anymore now that the engines are running, because we're running off of the alternator now. Really, a plane is not much different than your car, other than understanding different power units and different electricals that have to be done. You know, plane does have an alternator that, while the engines are running, it supplies power to your aircraft, so you're not running wholeheartedly off the batteries. The APU unit being the alternative power unit, you know, kind of helps you not drain your batteries, because if we were to sit there on that tarmac for a long time with just the batteries on, we would kill those batteries in a matter of hours. So, does not take long. And then you'd have to bring out a ground power unit just to juice up your batteries enough to get this thing powered back up. So, a lot of times overnight when pilots are done for the day and, you know, they're at their final destination for the night, a lot of them will shut their planes down, and the ground crews will hook them up to a ground power unit and let the plane kind of juice back up. It's kind of like having a generator hooked up to those of you that own a diesel truck, it's like having a power unit hooked up to them, so that your truck don't freeze up. Except here, it's like, I guess, like plugging a Tesla in. Except these don't catch fire. Alright. So we got a nice gentle cruise going here. We're still kind of cocked off to the left here. I'll get an outside view so you can see it. Still kind of cocked off like that. I'm hoping that's just because we're fighting the wind. I hope my simulation on this plane isn't doing that, because it doesn't usually do that. And I really like this plane, so I'd hate to have to report a problem to the manufacturers and have them do an update, but you know, it is kind of what it is. And I'm gonna assume, yeah, we're leaning that way because we're supposed to be heading 350. We're set at 350, but our actual heading is 353. It was just 354. So we're fighting a nasty crosswind, so that's the only reason why I can think we'd be doing that. So what we're going to do is we're going to compensate. We're going to drop this down to 346 and see if that puts us back on a heading of 350. But even with that set at 346, we're still going to be leaning just a little bit.
American 1-2, descend and maintain 1-2000, Fort Scott Munich, altimeter 2993.
Descend and maintain 1-2000 Fort Scott Muni, altimeter 2993, American 1-2.
Alright, so we just got told by air traffic control to drop to 12,000 feet. Like I said, guys, we're not going to be in the air for very long. It is not a very long flight from Joplin to Kansas City. And honestly, if you were to actually do this flight in real life, there are very few flights leaving out of Joplin that go to Kansas City. It just does not happen very often. Yeah, we're fighting that nasty crosswind. They're probably going to bring us in on runway 29. So we're actually going to need to kind of make a right-hand turn here before too long. We'll see if the ATC tower tells us to or not. So we are descending again, just like we increased in altitude. We're dropping 3,000 feet per minute. Get down to that 12,000 mark. Really didn't drop off in speed. I've got us dropped to 50% power, so we're not dropping off in speed, but we're not shooting up in speed either. So we're maintaining our flight speed here. God, I do not like this plane leaning like this. It just does not do well for this plane. It does not give a good, you know, impression on this aircraft. It's a good aircraft too. I hate the fact that it's doing that. But it is a regional jet, and it is lighter and smaller than some of the bigger guys, so it would fight the wind, you know, just a little bit more. And it doesn't have the same thrust power as, you know, say a 737 or an Airbus A320 or 321, so we're using much smaller engines than those big boys. I do have one of those, both of those planes as well, and there will be future videos coming up on just about every plane I have. I have over, I'd say 50 different aircraft that I'll be doing videos on. So I've been into flight simulators since Windows 95. So back then, flight simulators were not as detailed as they are today. They were very basic, very pixelated, but that was like the coolest thing back then. I'm 35 years old now, so you know, there's a lot of things that have changed in those years. And actually, I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody that actually kind of got me hooked on XPlane. I was a big Microsoft flight sim player for years. Until I started watching this gentleman's YouTube videos. And if you want to see some other really good flight sim videos, I recommend Jeff Favignano. Look him up on YouTube, guys. He is a fantastic YouTuber. He's a real pilot in real life. He doesn't fly this big stuff, but he flies the smaller stuff. And he has a better understanding of it than I do. But his videos are very informative. He's just a great flight sim guy. He does a bunch of other videos too, but I love watching his flight sims. He's another Missouri guy like I am. I'm not going to tell you where he lives if he wants to. I know he says it in some of his videos, so if you want to find out, you can find out, but I'm not going to disclose somebody's location. But I do, you know, I will say he does live in Missouri, and he's a really good guy. Hope to, you know, meet with him one day and you know, all that. It's not uncommon for people, you know, on YouTube that do these videos to actually, you know, meet up with each other. It's kind of like TikTok, you know, people on TikTok meet up with each other. It's kind of cool. Really kind of gets you out there and gets you to meet new people and, you know, kind of understand where they're from and what their lifestyles are like. It's really cool. So we're kind of flying through this cloud layer here, but ATC wants us to fly at 12,000 feet, so that's what we're going to do. Let's see how close we are to Kansas City here. Oop, wrong way. Alright, so we're about 40 miles out from Kansas City.
American 1, 2.
There we go.
8,000.
Alright, so we're being told to drop to 8,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 8,000 American 1, 2.
Again, we're going to drop off to about 50% power. And we're going to be dropping 3,000 feet per minute again. Oop, let's drop off our speed a little bit more there. We're kind of increasing in speed. Don't want to do that. Alright. And we're still fighting a pretty nasty crosswind. It's dropped off a little bit. It was at 16 miles or 16 knots. It's either 16 knots or 16 miles an hour. I don't know. It doesn't actually tell me. I'm going to assume miles per hour. 16 knot winds would be whew. But I guess it's possible. But we're still fighting a nasty wind. There we go. You can possibly hear the flight crew telling them we're about to come in for landing. Oop, Alright, so we've dropped below a certain speeds, or a certain altitude, excuse me, so it's telling us we're going too fast. So we're going to kick the air brakes on here a little bit, drop that speed down. And I've kicked the engines down to almost idle. Oh, shit, we're still gaining speed. Alright, come on. Come on. There we go. There we go. Get to about 250 or about 240 knots here. Whoop, dropping a little too much. Let's throttle up. And we've hit that 8,000 foot mark. And we want to go ahead and turn on our taxi and landing lights for added visibility again. We've not been told where we're going to land yet. We haven't been told a runway, so we're still waiting to hear on that. We should hear that here before too long, because we're only about, I'd say 25-30 miles away, so we should be getting that info any time now. Yeah, some low-level clouds with maybe a little bit of fog going on down there. There's another airport, little small one down there. Matter of fact, I believe that is New Center Air Center.
Fly heading 020. Vectors for the visual. Runway 1 left. Descend and maintain 6,000.
Fly heading 020. Vectors for the visual. Runway 1 left. Descend and maintain 6,000. American 12.
Alright, drop to 6,000 feet.
American 12. Descend and maintain 6,000.
Yeah, we're getting there. Give us a second. Alright, so we're going to drop to 6,000 feet. We were told to fly heading 020 for runway 1 left. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and input that in here. We're going to go to our departure and arrival, KMCI, Kansas City. ILS 1 left. Alright, and we're going to execute that so we can bring that up on our heading, our radar here.
Descend and maintain 6,000. American 12.
And we're going to kick the air brakes back on a little bit here.
American 12. Johnson Company exec. Altimeter 3000.
Johnson Company exec. Altimeter 3000. American 12.
Alright, so the barometer has changed to 3000. So we've changed that to get an accurate altitude. Flying at 6,000 feet. Doing about 225 knots. And you can see here on the radar how we're going to come in here. We're going to kind of come into the wind since we're blowing from the excuse me, from the west towards the east. We're going to come in kind of northwest a little bit for that runway. Hopefully. We should be told to do that. I ain't the ATC tower, but alright, so we got our landing lights and taxi lights on, seatbelt and smoke, we never turned those off. We're going to go ahead and flip this to on, because when we get on the ground, we're going to need to turn the APU back on once we park. Most pilots would actually turn that on after they've touched down, but I like to go ahead and turn it on now. We didn't actually start it, it's just on the on position, so I still have to kick that over to start to turn it on. So it's just kind of setting up for what we will have to do. And the next time they tell us to drop altitude, we're going to drop our flaps to 5 degrees, or flaps 1, like we did for takeoff. And as we get closer to the runway, we're going to kick those flaps down intermittently so that we get a nice smooth landing, and we get it'll make it easier to flare that nose so that the rear wheels touch first. And the flaps also help stabilize the aircraft and help keep us level, and we're able to fly at slower speeds without losing too much thrust to weight ratio. We'll have a nice gentle glide onto the runway, I hope. Winds change a little bit direction. We got 15 now coming from the northwest. Also, again, why they're probably going to tell us to turn into the wind. Here, any minute they should be telling us probably to head to 330.
American 1-2, fly heading 280, descend and maintain 3000.
Alright, so they're going to have us go actually to 280.
American 1-2, descend and maintain 3000.
Which is weirder than I thought. And we're going to drop to 3,000. 3,000 is the landing altitude for Kansas City for this flight simulator. It pretty much is that way all across the board. Some airports it's a little lower depending upon what kind of airport you're landing at, but a lot of these big ones here in Missouri, yeah, there's a train yard. I go to that train yard all the time as a truck driver. That is Union Pacific right there. Or no, excuse me, that is BNSF Railroad. Sorry, telling you all the wrong railroad there. I go in there all the time. I actually drive intermodal, so I deal with those guys all the time. Yeah.
American 1-2, fly heading 340.
Alright, now we're going to go to 340, so they're kind of having us do a little bit of a zigzag pattern here. Looks like the wind's going to be coming almost head on with us. That's going to be
Fly
good.
heading 340, American 1-2.
Looks like it's coming straight out of the, almost straight out of the north now, so we should have a nice gentle landing. Oh, and flaps 1. Let's kick that throttle back up just a little bit. And we're just going to kind of do a nice easy about 210 knots all the way the way in. We don't want to increase too much power because we don't want to have to, you know, really hope like heck we slow down in time to glide into that runway. So flaps are set to 1. Our speed's coming down gradually. We're going to drop that down to about 200 knots, and then I'll go ahead and try to hold it at that. As soon as we get lined up with the runway, I'll be kicking it back over to manual flight. I'll take back over the controls, and I will have control of the aircraft.
Fly heading 010. Report the field in sight.
Alright, so we're going to fly 010, final approach for runway 1 left.
Fly heading 01.
And there it is right in front of us.
American 1-2. Center. American 1-2.
Alright, so we got the runway in sight.
American 1-2, cleared visual approach. Runway 1.
Whoa!
Contact tower on 128.20.
And we're dropping landing gear.
Cleared visual approach. Runway 1 left. Contact tower.
Oh, come on.
128.20. American 1-2.
Dear Lord. Alright, so
Tower. American 1-2.
we were fighting a nasty crosswind. Even though that wind says that we got a 10-mile-an-hour north to south wind, we still got a little bit of a crosswind here, guys. You ought to see what I'm doing on my end. My yoke is pretty much turned, I'd say about 20 to 30 degrees to the left just to keep this sucker level. So this is going to be a fun little landing here, guys, but I'm going to try and do my best to make this as cool and as smooth as possible. We're coming in a little high here, so we're going to kind of drop the nose just a bit, decrease the power. I see 1 red light out there. We got 3 white.
American 1-2, runway 1 left. You're cleared to land.
Runway 1 left. American 1-2.
Oh, goodness. Jeez. Alright, we've got flaps to 3. Gear is down. I'm still seeing 1 red. We need 2 red, 2 white. I know it's kind No, it's probably hard for you guys to see, but I can see it pretty clear as day out there off to the left of that runway. There we go. Now we got 2 red, so we are right on the glide slope. That's exactly where we want to be. And we're just going to kind of nice and easy ride this plane on down. Let her drop just ever so slightly. Oh, oh. Now we got 3 red. We're starting to sink just a little too much. Let's increase the power. Oh, 4 red. We are way too low. Come on. There we go. We're back where we need to be. Alright. I tell you what, that wind is kind of throwing me off here a little bit. It's not wanting to cooperate, but these are things that pilots deal with on a daily basis here, guys, you know. And no landing is ever perfect. You know, they struggle to land every day. You know, they make it look easy, they make it look smooth, but you'd be surprised. Not every landing is a happy landing. Alright, come on. And flare the nose. And airfoils out. And wheels are down. Didn't quite line up with the runway the way I wanted to. We're going to kick reversers to full. There we go. Let's get back in the middle of this runway. So that crosswind really kind of played a...
American 1, 2, get taxi via 0, 1, Lima, Alpha, 6, Bravo, Lima, Delta.
That wind, oh lordy, that really kind of played a number on us there. Yeah, that was not fun. Good golly. My first video, that makes me look like an amateur, and I am...
American 1, 2, contact ground on 121.80.
I'm not usually that bad at landings, but guys, a lot of that was not me. A lot of that was... Again, real world traffic.
Ground on 121.80. American 12.
Or real world weather. So, it apparently is very windy up in Kansas City today. That was not the happiest of landings, but any landing you can walk away from is a good day. So, alright. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and kick that APU back on. Get her running. And we're just going to go ahead and taxi on in. We've already raised our flaps to 0. Air brakes are retracted. Everything is ready for parking. So we're just going to taxi this on into the gate here. Our flight attendants were telling the passengers to remain seated and all that fun stuff. They were talking, while I was talking to you guys, they were actually talking to them about our landing procedures. Don't know if any of you caught that or had heard that. So all in all, this is a fun little plane. Any of you that have XPlane11 or thinking about XPlane11, this is definitely a good buy. So all the additional aircraft other than what comes with X-Plane costs money. I believe this one currently is selling on sale for somewhere around the $30 range. It is definitely worth the money. It is a great little plane, especially if you don't want to get into those big boys like you see off in front of us there, those Southwest Airlines. Those guys are the 737-800s. Those are quite a bit bigger than what we're flying right now. X-Plane comes standard with one of those, so you know you can fly them, and they're fun to fly too. But if you're not ready to get into something that big, this is a good, solid little plane to fly. Super easy, not real complicated. And if for some reason you get into this plane and you can't figure out how to get it started or any faults in the system, this one actually comes with a checklist, and that gives you, it is actually the full checklist that a commercial pilot in the real world would have for this aircraft. So that definitely helps out a lot. I actually like the fact that this plane comes with that checklist. A lot of them don't come with a checklist. A lot of them do not come with you know, basic instructions on how to operate the aircraft, because they dumb it down so simple for gamers. that I mean, you're not hitting a lot of the buttons that you should be hitting. And even this one, you don't hit all of them that you should, but, you know, they're functional. If a real ERJ pilot, you know, was playing this flight sim, he would be able to fly this plane exactly how he does in the real world. So, anyways, it's a really good buy, really good plane. It's made by Aerobasque. They do fantastic flight sim planes. I have 3 that are actually made by them for this simulator. I love that company. They do a great job with their aircraft. They definitely do their homework. It looks like we're going to get this gate all the way here in the back. They don't like us. They're going to put us in the back. They're going to put baby in the corner. Sorry for all you younger generation that just heard me reference that. Most of you have probably not seen Dirty Dancing. If you haven't, I recommend it. It's a good movie. My wife makes fun of me for that. She's like, oh, you watch chick flicks. My wife is very much a country girl, so she gives me crap for watching that kind of stuff, but whatever. I ain't afraid to show my feminine side. Alright, so that was a horrible turn into this gate. I don't know how close we got as far as straight. Oh, didn't do too bad, actually. We can just straighten that up a little bit there. Not too shabby. Alright. Now, the one thing I will say before we power down this aircraft, this plane would not actually be directed into a gate that has a gateway. For one simple reason, this aircraft does not have, one, it doesn't sit high enough for the gateway, and 2, it actually has a door that comes down that has its own stairs. So even leaving out of Joplin, passengers would walk out onto the tarmac and climb the stairs up into the plane, and we'll open those here in just a minute to show you that. So let's go ahead and get this plane powered down. So we are just simply going to turn the engines to stop. We're going to kill our lights here. We actually should have killed those a long time ago. And we're going to turn off the seatbelt sign. Yeah, the engines are shutting down. I get a caution. Alright, so the APU should be running presently. Yes, okay, I get it. Chill. Good golly. Every buzzer and light's going off in here. Alright, so we're not going to fully shut her down because we should be running currently on... This plane doesn't actually have a... Yeah, you can see the exhaust coming out of the tail here. That actually is the APU exhaust. So, any of you that have ever flown a plane and wondered why there's an exhaust pipe there, that is not actually for the turbines, that is actually for the APU. So, the APU is actually located back here in the back, runs electrical all the way up to the front, to the cabin, where the pilot can control all the electrical in here as long as that's on. But, that guy is on, so we have power to the aircraft. Oh, and we were going to open up the doors here. So, you can kind of see... how... So if we open up this door here, you see the door open up, and it comes on down, and it has its own set of stairs. So no reason for the gateway. And we're going to open up this back cargo hatch here, so you can get the baggage out. And once all the passengers actually get off the aircraft, a baggage cart will pull up here with a ramp and pull the baggage off, and they'll take it into the terminal. But the way that they load your snacks and all that fun stuff into the aircraft is once you're all off, this side door off to the right here, they would actually open up that door, and a nifty little truck that has a lift on it would roll right up to it. and they just simply walk into the plane with all your snacks, so that way they're not going up and down flights of stairs all day long. So really really cool there. All the flight systems are, you know, fully functional. And one last thing we're going to do before I close out this flight. Something that Jeff Favignano does that I love the fact that he does this. It is an awesome thing just to show everybody kind of what goes on outside of the aircraft. He will do a replay, so we're going to go ahead and do a replay here. We can do it, you know, this close outside the aircraft. I think we're going to do it outside the tower. So this is going to be from tower view. We're going to see the plane coming in. And here we are, you know, flaps are down, gears down. Kind of had to pitch that nose down a little bit more than I wanted to, and then level out the last minute, but man, that wind was just fighting. Alright, so we're coming down. Should be getting pretty close to the, there we go. Right across the runway there. And right about there is where we should have touched down, but we didn't. We went a little ways past the double hash, but that's alright, you know. That landing seemed pretty smooth. That actually seemed a lot worse from the cockpit. So, like, when you guys are watching planes at a terminal, and there's the reversers kicked on, and the airfoil, air brakes. So when you guys are watching from the terminal and you're seeing airplanes land, you're like, oh wow, that was so smooth. Well, really, inside the aircraft, it's not as smooth as you think it is. And you probably realize that once you're in the airplane. You know, when you come in for landing, you're like, oh wow, that was kind of a hard landing. So, anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and close this out for today. I thank you all for watching. Please subscribe for more videos, and please check out, you know, Jeff Favignano's stuff. If you found this video interesting, you will absolutely love his flight sims. He definitely has a better computer setup than I do, so his graphics are a lot better. It's a little bit more realistic looking, and he is super informative. So guys, check out his page, and like I said, subscribe for some more videos, and thank you guys for watching.